this is Dave. I am Dave from TVR Creators, and I make weekly YouTube tips to help you build your brand. If that sounds interesting to you, subscribe now. Now today we're going to absolute value today, because I'm going to be sharing with you how I design my thumbnails and hopefully share the value that you need to make the best thumbnails possible, depending on whatever thumbnail that you want to make. Now today we're going to be using Photoshop, and what I'm going to show you, I'm going to make it as basic as possible, because Photoshop can be confusing but can be really simple if you know how. And also this, you can apply what I'm sharing today on any Photoshop, and the skills and the ideas and the tools I will be sharing with you, you can apply on any of your thumbnails. So without any further ado, let's crack on with the value here on Live 2, here on Cam 2. Here we are. So basically we are going to crack on and go straight to Photoshop. So here we are. This is Photoshop. This one is one of the Elements ones. It's a few years old, but the principle will apply. And I want to show you how to make a really good thumbnail. Now what I would recommend is you make a folder. I could show that later on, but I would highly recommend you have a folder wherever your video is being made. And what I tend to do is have a folder with, you know, the name of the project, and then inside that I have like the video, the thumbnail, final cut of the video, that sort of thing. But let's just worry about the thumbnail today. And what you want to do for best value, so it's not cropped when you upload it, is start a blank file, as you see here, and you want to make it 1280 wide by 720. That is the measurements that YouTube recommend. You could possibly get away with slightly higher, but just bear in mind, if it's not quite that, it might be slightly cropped or whatnot, and you don't want that. So just do that. And obviously I've done a bit of a Blue Peter here, and I've got one ready for you. Right, so I'm going to insert a picture. So the best way to do this, you can just load up the picture in your Explorer, or the way I do it, because I'm a bit old school, I like to click on File, open a particular document, and I've already got it here. So just imagine, so what I was saying earlier, so inside this particular project, you know, building the YouTube channel community, which is this particular video, and inside here you can see I've got A roll, B roll, final cut, thumbnail. I just like to keep it organized. Obviously do it, present it, you know, as long as it's easy for you and it's set up how you want it, that's the most important thing. So don't worry, that's just how I do it. So these are the few examples I got here from the video I made recently. So let's just pick a random picture. Well, don't look too dorky. Wow, smash that like button if you're getting value already, because we're going to give you lots of value today. So I'm just trying to find one that's not, I don't know, not completely dipsy. You know what, let's just go with, I don't know, I'm changing my mind. Let's just go with that, just because it's crazy. It doesn't matter, it's for you guys, it's the ultimate value. And as you can see, it's opened up separately. Don't worry about that. Now, I want you to click on the select icon here. It's called the move tool, but I just call it the select, it doesn't really matter. And then on your keyboard, so bear in mind if you're doing this on a PC or laptop, do a Control A, and you should be able to see it selected the whole picture. From there, I recommend you just hold down Control and tap C. Okay, so you want to go down to the bottom left, double click on that. On some Photoshops, you might be able to single click, but it doesn't really matter. And then this is your project, so this is the bit you want to worry about. Now bear in mind, I've taken this picture on my Canon M50, absolutely love that camera. If you haven't got one, go and get one. We've got the link to that in the description. And what I just want to say is, if you Control V, now the reason I mention that is, it tends to be, if you're taking a picture with especially a mirrorless or an SLR camera, or even a top of the range phone, the picture could be quite large unless you've purposely made it smaller before you've taken it. So just bear in mind that this is going to be way bigger than the template, but don't worry, we can fix that easy. So as you can see, my icon on my mouse is a bit weird, don't worry about that. Just go up to the corner, hold down Shift, which is just the arrow pointing up at the keyboard. There's two of them on your keyboard. And just drag it down. And the reason I want you to do this, and then what you do, you let go of it, you'll sort of pull it back up, and you have to do this sort of 2 or 3 times. The reason I recommend massively that you use the Shift button, because if you don't, you will make your picture all skew width and it'll be all weird angles and it will just look really naff. And you don't want that, because ultimately this is all about how to make your thumbnail look professional, and you want the best thumbnail possible. So just bear with me. This will only take, you know, a minute or so. So there you can see, already you can see my crazy face popping up. There he is, whee, Random Dave. And what I would recommend, just bear in mind, if you're going to use text on your thumbnail, I try to use the 5-word rule and don't have any more than 5 words. And try not to just copy and paste your title. Try to think of something catchy. And, you know, if you can, only have 2 or 3 words. Try to see the thumbnail as a poster. And something else I want to massively say, obviously, for those of you that are regular, you know I'm all about value, and you should be as well. But what I would highly recommend to give the most value is think of your thumbnail as probably one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, because if your thumbnail is busy or naff looking, people won't even click on it. So if you could have the best video in the world, but if your thumbnail is rubbish, no one will click. And you can make your thumbnail look so much more professional with how I'm showing you today, but just by making it clear. And this could be with anything. So if you're a gamer, this could just be a picture or a screenshot of the game that you're, you know, playing or the video's about. And think of imagery. So whatever the video's about, so say if you're doing a review on a camera, for example, you might just want to take a picture, a really nice picture of the camera, Photoshop it, and then that could be the thumbnail, and that'd be really nice. So anyway, if we're just going to bring this down and bring a bit more of me into the shot, so I want you to see this now as a poster. So as you can see, there's just me being weird, do what I do best. And something I want you to bear in mind is in the bottom right, that's often, well, at the moment anyway, where the time of every video is located. So just bear in mind that you don't want to put any text there or anything important in that bottom right. Just bear that in mind. So anyway, we're just going to snap this over now. And I tend to make sure the text is on the left side, just so it's less likely to be, you know, affected by that timer count. And it tends to be, you know, maybe the thing that somebody sees first. You know, they might not want to see my face, but automatically they'll see that face and they think, oh, it's one of Dave's videos, TVR creators, go and check them out. And so, yeah, so think of that, or the imagery. So I want you to think about branding and imagery and trying to think of all that. You might think, what? But honestly, in everything you do, if you're making a cover, you know, especially in your thumbnails, try to be consistent as well. So as we talked about in other videos, you want to be consistent. So do that with your thumbnails. Now, obviously, test all the time. I highly recommend that you sometimes just have text, just have words, maybe sometimes have pictures, maybe a bit of both. And what works well for you might be different for me, and vice versa. And 6 months later, test again. Always keep testing, being creative. So this could be literally it. We could just press the green tick. We could put some cool thing on it. See if it does it. Oh, computer didn't like that. See, it's got some cool cartoony effect, and that's a really awful thumbnail, so we're not going to use that. But you get the idea. This could literally be the picture. We save it, off we go, and there we go. One little tip I would share, actually, when you're saving your thumbnails, you can save it directly. I tend to do it at least twice, so as a Photoshop file. So if I'm not quite happy with it, or quite often what I'll do is, just before posting, I think, actually, I can make that thumbnail look a bit better, or even a couple of days later, and then you can just open up your project, you know, tinker with it a little bit, make it a bit better, and then you can resave it, and you can make it a BMP, but it has to be a JPEG to be uploaded to YouTube. So what I do, I save it as a BMP for high quality 24-bit, and then I open it up in Paint, resave it as a JPEG, and off you go. And bear in mind that you can save as a JPEG, but bear in mind there is I believe it's a 4 megabyte limit, but it should be fine. So don't worry about that, because it is quite a small file size. Anyway, let's add text. What should we call this? Any suggestions? I'm thinking value. I'm thinking literally Value Dave or something like that. What should we say? Oh, no, that's just silly. Let's call it Get Value. That's just what the video is going to be about. It's going to be about how to get value. It's just easy. And bear in mind, if this is a game review, you could have walkthrough, you know, if it's a cooking channel, whatever. But just for the principle of this video, I'm going to just say Get Value. So the first thing you could do is just put Get and type it in. Here, actually, you type the letter T. I think it's T on most Photoshops. And then you just type in wherever it is. And then when it says arrange at the top tab, click bring to front, it just brings it up there. And what I would highly recommend if you're using text is make sure it's readable, because so many people use join up handwriting or fancy fonts, and that's fine. But if most people can't read what it says, it sort of takes away the point of it, and that sort of thing. So straight away we can just do that, and then we can click the T again, bring down the second one, and we're going to type in value. Look at that. And straight away, this is just the sort of the first stage. And straight away we've got get value, and look at that. That's a simple, effective thumbnail. I don't want to go into more detail to make it look even more professional. Now, with my particular branding, you may notice I tend to wear red t-shirts, but subconsciously my branding's became sort of white and orange, and I will get to that later on. So sort of bear in mind, so whatever colour contrast that you particularly like, trying to think something that maybe means something to you, or there's maybe a backstory that could perhaps sort of, or perhaps you just like 2 or 3 types of colours, and you can just, and bear that in mind. So if you are doing this type of thumbnail with you in it, you might want to wear the colour branding of, get a t-shirt made or something, or just get on if you're blue, maybe have different blues that, so people can identify, that colour with you, that sort of thing. So straight away they identify, your face. And then something else I see quite a lot is people say, should you have, faces or non-faces? And I must admit, I have looked a lot and researched a lot, and there is so much mixed opinion. Some people say, it doesn't really matter, because again, like I said earlier, what works best for you could be different for me and vice versa. But personally, especially if you're, thinking about that brand and that imagery, you want people to relate that content with you, and especially if you're part of that branding, if you're doing like head videos and stuff like that, which is basically, you in a video, then you want people to identify that thumbnail with your content. So for me personally, just having my face in the thumbnail is just part of my branding. But also bear in mind, you don't have to have your face on the thumbnail. So anyway, so this is the first step of this particular thumbnail. Now you're probably thinking, all right, how could we make this look a bit more interesting? Now, what I would recommend massively is be creative. Now, I talked about white and orange. So you're probably seeing quite a lot of my videos. I mix it up a bit, and I've got like white and I'll mix around. I'll make the value orange, and I'll probably want this to shout out a little bit. So what I might do actually is change the get to the orange, and then change the value, because thinking about imagery again, you want that to be the bit that stands out. So it's like get value, that type of thing. Again, thinking about the post, straight away that stands out. And you could say, why don't you just use white for both? And you can. If you're getting value from the video, smash that like button, consider subscribing. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a silent listener, especially if this is your first time here, or if you watch every week, welcome. But I just like to get orange in. And I'll show you a really cool effect in a minute, how I make that orange word stand out even better. Now, if you want to be a bit more creative, we can click on an individual text. And under here in the middle, there's like another little, I don't know if you can see it, one little dot. If we can zoom in maybe. No, it doesn't want to do that. It's being awkward. No, it's not. So if you zoom in like that, say, we could then select the text, and there should be like a little dot, sort of, see it as, I don't know, a little Tarzan hanging on the bottom. And if you just hover your icon over it, hold down the left button on your mouse, and then it will get bigger. And then basically you do it again. I don't know why that is, it just is. And then you can turn it. And I just think this looks really cool. And what you could do actually, if you really want to be like clever, make shadows, you could actually do 2 gets, one white, one black, maybe like shadow. You can put it underneath it and make it stand out. That's something you could do. Let's just show you that perhaps we could do that now, if it will let me do it. No, it's not letting me do that. Duplicate layer. Yeah, so we're basically just going to copy that. I just want you to see this. So basically, if you right click on the text on the right here, and then just left click on duplicate layer, then you'll be able to have a copy, and straight away you could then change this, highlight it. You can let's just make it white just for argument's sake. It hasn't done that for some reason because my icon is playing up. I just want to show you, I used to do this, but I don't do this now. And then you see here, you could just play around the colours. So you could click on the select icon, you could bring it backwards just a tad, and there you go, you got it there. And then from that, you could go, actually, I don't like that. And you could change it, though I think I have, you might go, I like that. Or actually, if you made that, let's just change it again. I find if you get out of the way, it's just easier. Just bear with me a second. See, if we made that black, and then we click on this one here, and then we just drag it over. See there, you can make it sort of stand out. We could do the same with that, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to show you something that's far simpler in my opinion. So let's just go back. Let's just pretend we didn't do that. Let's just, well, actually don't, because if you like that way of, if you want to do a shadow, that's just an easy way to do it. But personally, what I'm about to show you, I think personally, is just an easy way to make words stand out. So what I do is I turn my text just to be creative. And if you want to be really sort of precise, what I'd recommend actually is click on the zoom and zoom out. So the quickest way to do that is right click on the thumbnail, click zoom out or zoom in, and there you can see. And what I'd recommend actually is you make it quite small, about as small as it would be on a phone, like that, and say to yourself, does that, is that readable? Does it stand out? Does it pop out? Bear that sort of stuff in mind. If it does, you've got a good thumbnail. If you look at it and the text starts looking small or you can't quite read it, then perhaps what you could do then, we don't, just for example, I just want to use this as an example for you guys. Just say for argument's sake that this was too small. It doesn't want to do it now. Let's just say for argument's sake it was too small. Hang on. Let's just get rid of that layer. That's annoying. Right, let's just say, for argument's sake, that the wording is really small. You think, oh yeah, I've got a really cool title here, and I'm gonna say I want to get value, and for whatever reason you've made it really small. But in your eyes, it looks perfectly fine. If you zoom in like that, you think, oh, that looks fine. It doesn't, but it could do. But then as soon as you zoom out, imagine it's been uploaded, it's on someone's phone, and straight away it becomes harder to read, and already like, what's that? And if you imagine if you're trying to be clever and you've got that as a joined up handwriting, it will just look really difficult to read. So what I'd recommend to make it stand out is this. Right. So what I would highly recommend is go back to how it was. And do this. Click on this square icon here, right? Make it black. It doesn't have to be black, but that's just the colour I use. Do like a rough square around the word. Select it with a select icon. And then bring it to the front. And then do the same thing again when you turn it a bit. And then select it. Apply, sorry. Select it. Go back. And there it stands out. And then just to make it feel more natural, over here on the right where it says optimal, make that 80% visible. So it makes it a little bit so it doesn't quite blur in quite, and it might sort of stand out a bit, but it's not quite as bold, so it looks sort of fake. So it just stands out better. And what I tend to do then is I'll do two. I'll do it on both words, and I'll go, right, that's how I like it. And if you want it to be, if you prefer it like that, do it like that. But I find if you just sort of bring it in maybe, and then do the same, make the optimal visibility just slightly less, you can sort of see my thumb going through. It just looks a bit more interesting. And straight away, here we are again. If you zoom out, and it just makes the words really stand out. They really pop now because they've been reinforced with nice bold sort of backing, if you will, and it just looks cool. It reminds me of like school days when your teacher used to do boards and stuff, and they look really cool. So that's something you could do if you really want your thumbnail to stand out. Hey bro, hey Phil, just saw you there live. So that's a really cool way how you can make text stand out, which is really cool, which is awesome. And then what you could do actually, if you click on the layer of your picture, this is something you could do. Now you could just press quick, which is probably really easy. Let's see what happens. And we then want to, we've made the text look really good, get value. Obviously this video must be something to do with, get value or whatever. And, you could do the quick fix and just slide it up and down. But personally, what I like to do is play around with the highlights and the shadows. So just little sliders, and you just see what works well for you. So let's see what happens. So I'm going up on the shadows. I'm finding it a bit bright now. I don't like that. I can't remember what mid-tone does. That makes it look nice. So we'll pull that to the right a little bit. Looks really good. Highlight, does that make it look? No, I don't like that. But already I like the style. That looks really cool. I really, really like it. Now you could add, different effects to that. You can make it like blurred and all the rest of it. I'm just giving it a second because it's doing multiple things here. But no, I think for this I'll just leave it like that. So as you can see here, we've got a really nice, bold, really obvious what it is with just no more than 2-3 words. Really nice, bold thumbnail. Now you probably say, what about that white line that goes round the person's face? You go, oh, okay, let's check it out. If you're getting value from today's video, smash that like button. So we're going to click on the paintbrush. We hope it's going to give us a white colour. Again, it doesn't have to be white. You can make it pink or whatever, but white just tends to stand out more. And I must admit, I'm going to rush this a little bit because otherwise I'll be here all day. But just bear in mind that I'm doing this on the fly live. Obviously, if you're doing it, you want to take a bit more time over it. But so if we just click that, and as you can see, and it's just to give you a rough idea. And you don't have to do this. You've probably noticed on my thumbnails. I tend to, sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. More recently I haven't bothered just because I'm quite happy with a thumbnail without it. And sometimes it's more effort than it's worth. And sometimes it looks good and sometimes it doesn't. But if you're good at doing it and you can make it look effective, I'll show you how good it can be. And bear in mind, this is just a rough outline of my of my face. So we just do that naturally. We just draw around my glasses, pull it down, and bear in mind, you could be really like, fingerbob over it, but just bear in mind when you zoom out, remember that this is going to be like a small poster on people's phones, and over 70% of your viewers, on mine it's 76 I believe, but on yours it'll be easily 70%. So if you think most people are watching your content on their phones, you don't have to go into every little detail. You can if you want, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but sometimes it's like, value over time. Is it worth spending 6 hours drawing a line? If you're one of these where this, even to do half decent, takes you hours, you think, is it worth it for the But straight away, what do you think? So we've zoomed out, and already that's made me pop. That looks quite cool. Bear in mind, I just rushed that, so if I was doing this properly, I'll take a bit more time over it. But even on the rough guide, you can see that makes me stand out and that sort of thing. And if you wanted to, I won't do it on this particular tutorial, but you could then highlight yourself using the draw icon, making a layer, and then you could really bold that out and make the rest, something different perhaps. But I quite like the black and the red in the background. It just looks a really cool thing like that, and I think that's quite a cool thumbnail. And let's just see what's going on in the chat. Hello, Bright. I just want to say, before we carry on, let's go back to main cam. Hello! If this is your first time here, I'm Dave from TVR Creators, and I make weekly YouTube tips help you build your brand. If that sounds interesting to you, subscribe now. Get value. Now, if you want to support the channel, watch any of our content, we've got tutorials now on lighting, sound, thumbnail design, video tips, loads of YouTube tips on uploading your videos and building your community. Just go and check out the channel, and just by watching any of the content, you are supporting the channel. More importantly, if you learn anything from them, apply it onto your channel, because it's really nice to see when you guys are applying this stuff. When I go to your channel, and even today I've been on a few channels and I'm thinking, oh, wicked, that I've like, you know, been talking to on Instagram and whatnot. And even today I came across someone, you know, applying what I've been trying to teach. So it's just really cool to see. So if you learn even just the smallest thing on today's video, apply it into your videos and it just makes your content better. And every time you make a content, or you know, make a new video, think, how can I make this one better, and apply. Value. I've also got some awesome links in the descriptions of things like cameras and tripods and lighting, things that I've spent a little time looking and I've, you know, used personally, that I'm recommending you guys to go and check out the affiliate links if you wish to. You can also check out our merch. We've got mugs and t-shirts and whatnot if you want to support the brand. And also, just feel free as I spill water on my keyboard, which probably isn't the funniest thing to do. But no, seriously, I hope you're getting value from today's video. So just before we crack on, I'm just going to have a brief look to see who's in the live stream. Awesome. Thank you, mate. Looking good, looking good. All right, let's push this value. So something else you could try then, just going back into Photoshop. Boom, boom, boom. Cam 2. Here we are, we're back again. So something else you could try then. Let's just get rid of that horrible line around Dave's face, which I don't like. So just for argument's sake, I don't know, you want to, if you want, you could literally just have me, right? That just for argument's sake, you could just have words. And straight away, let's just do that now. So let's just show you the difference. And you can play around what you think works well for you. And I've seen some really good thumbnails done this way. So say, for example, you just want to, say your branding is like a bluey colour, like a sky blue. Make a nice square. Select it. Highlight it out. And think of that rule again, the 5-word rule. If you don't get anything away from today's video, think of the 5-word rule. No more than 5 words, and don't just copy and paste your title. So if we just do you guys rock, we could just put you rock, just for argument's sake. And I want you to bear in mind that light works better on dark, and dark looks better over light. That's another thing I want you to remember as it doesn't draw. So you could literally just put you rock, select it, put it where you want. And then remember that thing I said about selecting shift, and you don't want it to do all this business, and you want to pull it back in, hold down the shift key, and you'll get this nice, and you know, you might not like this, but this is an example. And then we can click another one. You rock, and the same again. Hold down shift, and as you can see, it sort of pulls out, and there you go again. And if you want this to shout out, you could, I think white looks quite good behind black. Opposites of colours always look good. You know, you could really stand this out. Bear in mind, I'm sort of rushing this a little bit, not in a horrible way, just because I'm just appreciating time for you guys. And then what you could do actually to make this look a bit more interesting, you could perhaps, like we did earlier, you could turn the back in just to make it look a bit more visually interesting, and vice versa. So we could do another one like that, and it just looks so much more interesting. I don't know what you guys think. Just bring it to the front, bring it back, and then straight away you see what I've done there. So you can sort of turn it around, you can sort of bring it in. Perhaps as far as I'm saying, we might just do that just because why not. And then we could just click on the rock, bring it forward. You see what we're doing? So already we're just being a bit more creative. Obviously you could center this so it just look a bit better. We could turn it, and already if you was to zoom out, let's just zoom out for you guys. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, and already you can see it's just a very simple thumbnail. And you know, you could change it, and if you didn't like the blue, we could see, okay, what works better. So let's click on the shade, select the shade. We can go, okay, let's do that. Let's see if it does it. No. Let's do... What do you reckon? Like a cool purple? That could look cool. I don't know. Maybe if we just go black. Let's see how... See, that looks quite cool. With the black, with the white, with the black lettering. You know, see, that looks, you know, quite cool. You know, so straight away you've got a really effective text-only thumbnail. It's like, you rock. Okay, cool. Now, obviously, you wouldn't just do that if you do it, you know. This could be literally like Call of Duty. Like, oh, okay, cool. And then, obviously, if you're doing a picture, the same principle would apply, where you literally just have a picture. Alright, so I hope you got value from today's video. That's sort of the basis of how to build a thumbnail. If you've got any questions, throw them in the live chat. I'll do my best to answer them. I hope you got value from today's video. It's sort of a nice little tutorial on how to build a good thumbnail. And just remember, when you're doing your thumbnails, just make them clear. No more, you know, think of the 5-word rule. No more than 5 words. If you're just going to use pictures, test different things, you know, just pictures, just words. Have you in the thumbnail, don't have you in the thumbnail. Just think about your branding, your imagery, what you want, and just think, you know, the next time you make one, how you can make it better. And if for whatever reason you don't think that, you know, your graphic skills are quite up to it yet and you're still learning that, there's loads of websites out there. There's one called Place It, where you can literally just get a really customized template, add in the imagery that we use, change the text, and you've got a really professional looking thumbnail if you know, you don't want to take all day. But just bear in mind that the thumbnail really is like the poster to your video, and it goes in partnership with your title and description, allowing the right information. Fill out your description as good as possible, so YouTube can identify who to show your content to, and also for your viewers, so they can identify, oh, this is interesting video, let's check it out. So bear all that in mind. So anyway, hope you got value from today's video. I will be in the after show to see if there's any live chat. I'll just have a brief look. So there we go. So anyway, so I hope you got value from today's video. I'm Dave from TVR Creators. I make weekly YouTube tips to help you build your brand. And I want you to put in the comments how you do your thumbnails, and is it something you feel you're improving on? It'd just be cool to see your comments in the comments below. Anyway, have a great day, great weekend, and you know what? Happy Easter! Hey! And as always, guys, you guys rock.